I have this patch of garlic here that really needs to be harvested. So I am going to get to it right away and see how quick I can get this out of the ground. You may notice in this patch I have other things growing too, like some dill. I didn't purposely let this grow, but it's there nevertheless. I think garlic may be one of my favorite things to grow in the garden because it is just so easy. You plant it in the fall, you don't worry about it all winter long, and come spring it just starts to grow. I don't water it, I don't trim it, I don't have to do anything to it. Found an itty bitty clove, so I mean maybe we'll just eat this one fresh. I don't know if it's worth drying or trying to preserve, but these ones are looking good. Here I'm growing hardneck garlic. Hardneck garlic is much easier to preserve. It lasts a lot longer. I am tempted to grow softneck garlic pretty much just so that I can braid it and it'll look nice. This summer has been a particularly warm and dry summer, so the garlic was ready to harvest earlier than usual. The top 3 to 4 leaves had dried out, which means it's ready to be picked. Last year I was able to grow, I think it was 128 heads of garlic. So I'm really hoping that this year I got a slightly higher yield, and I think I did because my germination rate at the beginning of the season was much better. So that means for each clove of garlic that I planted, I think I had every single one sprout except for one. Every so often I find a garlic scape that I forgot to pull. I won't use these, they're going to be a little tough at this point, so I'll just sort of chuck them in the compost. Believe it or not, I actually weeded this garlic bed several times, but the weeds just continuously grow. Even with the landscaping fabric, they grow within sort of the holes. And then I find some little remnants that my kids were near, such as this little plastic frog that was hiding within the garlic. I'm going to try to clean this bed up as much as I can right now, but it's more important that I tend to the garlic and get it somewhere to dry. I'm not sure what I'm going to plant in this bed. Maybe some sort of fall crop. I'm thinking I may actually just plant peas just to add nitrogen to the soil so that in the fall when I do go and plant my garlic, it will be amended. I really hope that this garlic will last us all year, but I doubt it will. My plan now is to take all of this garlic and just leave it out on the grass here. I want to give it the day to dry off a bit so I can scrape off a bit of the dirt, and then I'll bring it inside to cure. This step isn't necessary, but I find it a lot easier so that when I do bring it inside to cure, I won't have all this dirt that I'm tracking through my house. Now, I know a lot of people cure their garlic outside. I live in a region that's very humid, and because of the humidity, it makes it difficult for me to cure things outside. There's always moisture in the air, and any moisture will cause mold. I do not want to risk my garlic getting moldy. I don't know, baby. This is garlic that I'm heavily depending on. Okay, this looks good to me. I'll just leave this here for the day. I will get to this after. I'll come back and check on it in the evening and probably, put it all back in the baskets and bring them inside so that they can be ready to cure later on. While I was tending to the garlic, my kids are picking flowers and eating raspberries in the garden. It is now the evening, the sun is setting, and I need to get this garlic into these baskets. My plan right now is to sort of just knock them off a bit and wipe away some of the dirt. It should be drier now since it was sitting out in the sun most of the day. And after I do that, I'm just going to put them in these baskets and bring them inside. I will find somewhere inside to lay them out so that they can fully dry and cure. And that way I'll be able to store them for as long as I need. I will be using them throughout the winter, and hopefully this garlic will last me until next year. So let's get to it. Let's do this as quick as possible because I need to go and get my kids to bed. I'm not sure how many cloves of garlic I have here, but I'm just going to get to it. I will eventually cut off the green and cut the roots a bit and just, you know, finish it off for storage. But right now we're just gonna get the dirt off, get them in the baskets and get them inside. I don't want them getting wet or anything in case it rains, or even with the morning dew or mildew. I don't want that to potentially, you know, harm my garlic. It's a teeny tiny one. Oh, I forgot to take off the garlic scape. I'll do that now. It's quite tough, I won't use it. I'm just gonna kind of bang it on the grass. I don't want to be too rough with it and scrape off too much of the garlic paper, because the paper, that's what keeps it from going bad. I need it to be able to preserve it. And this is a wonky one. I don't know what happened when these cloves split. I'll use this one up quite quickly. The ones that are weird, I just put them aside and I use them right away, or as quick as I can, because they won't be good for preserving. Along with eating this garlic fresh, I'll also use the large cloves that I find and I'll replant them in the garden. So although most of it will be eaten, I will need to take a portion of it to plant out. I also want to plant an extra bed next year. So I did one bed this year and I want to do 2 beds next year. That was my plan actually in the fall, but I never got around to it and it snowed really early, so I just didn't get that second bed planted out. Along with garlic being one of the easiest plants to grow, it's also super economical. It's quite expensive to buy garlic in store. Another wonky one. I'm not talking about that cheap Chinese garlic, but to buy good quality, locally grown garlic is quite expensive. And the amount of garlic that we eat in our household, it saves us a ton of money. And with my kids growing, we'll only be consuming more and more each year. I think we're done. We're ready to go bring all of this garlic inside to cure, to dry off, and to store to use all winter long. I don't yet have a plan. I mean, I have somewhat of a plan, but I don't really know where I'm gonna dry it yet. I'll figure something out. I have a couple ideas, but when I get that figured out, I'll show you. So let's bring this inside. For my garlic setup, I laid down a tablecloth, found a couple of shelves, and I started to put them on the shelves. You want to make sure that the shelves have holes because you need to allow airflow or else the garlic can mold. My daughter helped me put all the garlic heads on these shelves, and once we were done, I actually realized I needed more space, so I got an additional shelf, and I really hope the kids don't mind me using their stools. I also set up a fan to have continuous airflow. This will guarantee that there's no mold. The garlic will stay here for about a week, or maybe 2. We'll see how fast it dries. The worst part to this is probably the odor that is there for about a day or 2, but it goes away. And we're done. I decided to use that wonky garlic for dinner that night. It just had 3 small cloves on it. The skin was so thin, it was so hard to peel. But I made a nice focaccia, and it was great to add my fresh homegrown garlic to it.
Tomato, potato. Welcome to